Hey, y'all, it's Rick here with Uncommon Communion coming at you early on Wednesday morning. Actually, it's a few minutes after midnight. So Wednesday has just begun, and I am a little tired, and my voice is a little froggy, but I did something really special this evening, and I want to share about that with you as I try to get my words out properly. Before that, though, let's begin with some words that I am familiar with. If you're a regular watcher or listener, you are familiar with. If you want to say it with me, please do. Let us remember we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of the more. So, Tuesday evening, I got to do something very, very cool. And leaving the cool thing that I did, I heard some not so cool news. And I want to lead with that because, y'all, it's an example of, again, the world that we are living in right now and the mixed feelings and the complicated feelings that I have as I try to navigate this. And maybe you have as well. I was leaving the soccer game that I went to with my friend Mark. I've shared about Mark before, and we'll certainly share more about Mark in a moment. But I was leaving the game, and Substack started putting out a news report before anyone else. That's something that is astounding, y'all. I continue to see this. Substack carries news before others in the corporate media even begin to talk about it. And the news that I'm referring to was being communicated by at least a couple of folks going live on Substack to talk about this breaking news. And it was the news that hopefully will be in the headlines when you wake up on Wednesday morning. If you're not getting this right, early on Wednesday. Um, but it was that Russian drones flew over Poland, attack drones, and that the NATO airplanes had to be scrambled, that Poland's airspace was shut down, the airport closed. Really, really scary, dangerous stuff. And that was what was being reported. And huge, 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 huge. Right now, I just checked it a few minutes ago, neither the Washington Post nor the New York Times have run a story about this. And granted, it's early in the story, and yet this is potentially life changing and potentially of major consequence. So, again, I salute Substack for carrying the message, for being able to get news out quickly. And even as I was receiving this news, again, I was leaving somewhere that was pretty awesome. So if you pay attention to soccer in the United States, you will know that it is one of the international breaks. Pro leagues, including the MLS, Major League Soccer, take breaks so that players can be called up for their national teams. So national teams play usually 2 or 3 games within about a 10-day period when, professional leagues around the world are on break. And I had the very special opportunity to go and see the U.S. men's national team play here in my hometown of Columbus, Ohio. And it was a great game. And it was an important game because just a few days ago, the U.S. men's team played in New Jersey against South Korea to a fairly unfavorable crowd. Apparently, there were almost more Korean fans there than United States fans. And of course, that part of the country has a much higher population. And tonight, against Japan, who is actually higher ranked in the world than Korea, the United States really had a lot to prove because it was a pretty bad game over the weekend. They lost to Korea 2-0 and really just had some defensive breakdowns and couldn't get an offense going. It was a pretty lackluster game, even to the point where some leading figures in the sports world were calling for the U.S. men's coach to step down. So there was a lot on the line tonight. And it was a great game and a very special thing because the U.S. men's national team doesn't play that often. And oftentimes when it plays in bigger stadiums. The stadium it played in over the weekend was probably 3 times as large. Columbus this evening, our stadium is small, it's soccer only, and the announced attendance was 20,000, which, the capacity is 22, so it could have had a few more people there, but nevertheless, it was fantastic. And there were Japanese fans there right behind where I was sitting with my friend Mark. There were multiple rows of Japanese adults and children, and they were chanting in Japanese at times. And it was just really, really a lot of fun. And it was made even more special by the fact that the U.S. men won 2-0. The U.S. goalkeeper made some really important saves, and one of our hometown boys was starting in the game, plays for Columbus Crew, and had a brilliant cross right to one of our players in the box who took it out of the air and put it right into the goal. It was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So it was with much joy and much excitement and much gratitude that I was able to go to this game tonight. And yet, y'all, it felt weird. Like a lot of things feel weird right now. Because as I was driving to the game to meet my friend Mark, more about the Epstein book came out, this birthday book. And if you have not heard about the whole contents of the book and kind of the theme that runs through this, it is absolutely, absolutely repulsive. Because what is clear about the people who made this birthday book for the largest known American pedophile, human trafficker that we know of ever, what they said in this book where they knew 2 things about him. One was he was very rich, and 2, that he liked girls to have sex with. That's all over this book. And many people knew this, and many people are lying and covering up about this. And that is absolutely reprehensible. And that's happening right here in our nation today. It's hard to support a U.S. flag. It's hard to be enthusiastic about the United States right now. It's hard to enjoy something that I love as deeply and as special as U.S. men's soccer, live watching it, and to know what our country is doing right now, to know what we have elected, and to know what we are covering up, what we collectively do not want to see and to acknowledge. And that's really hard, y'all. And I'm getting really tired of this. And it sucks. For lack of a better word, it really, really sucks. I'm not losing faith, though. We have each other. We have Substack. We have a power greater than ourselves. And we still have grace and beauty. It was a good day in other ways for me today. And I want to close with how else it was good today. I had the chance, my youngest daughter has been struggling with a breakup, her first major breakup with a long-term partner. She's 22, 21, so, she's still young. And it's really been struggling. And I took her out to lunch today, and we had a really lovely lunch. It's a special place that has tea service, and I didn't have tea service, the little cakes and crumpets and, whatever, but I did have some really good tea. And it was a really great conversation. And I really was able to listen and to be present and to support her. And I'm so grateful for that. She shared with me that she prays the Serenity Prayer all the time. And that really warmed my heart because, that's a very special prayer. And I think it's a powerful prayer. And I think it's an important prayer. And I was very happy as her dad, who's concerned about her, but also very proud of her for going through the pain and the grief and the sadness and all of that that inevitably comes with a breakup. That I really was very happy to hear that she prays the Serenity Prayer. So let's pray the Serenity Prayer together, recognizing that there's a lot going on, y'all. We need a break. I need a rest. I get to sleep in a little bit tomorrow, which is nice, although I got to go to the dentist, so that's not so nice. but but it's about acceptance, right? It's about acceptance. So pray with me, if you will, the we version of the Serenity Prayer. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, O God, not ours, be done. All right, y'all. Thanks so much, and hope to be back with you tomorrow, Wednesday, with a written post. Blessing and good. Be bold. Be well.